Welcome to episode 115 of Outside the Circle, a podcast dedicated to new and upcoming country artists, musicians, and songwriters. Today's guest will be Corey Davis. We'll get to him in a little bit, but first, I'm Ronnie, and here's Brian.
What's happening, man? No, this was cool. Corey was awesome, and I'm sure we'll dive into it. We are approaching the Christmas season, and I mean, for some of y'all, that probably started on the day after Thanksgiving, if not mid-November. But yeah, here we, as you can recall from the last episode, I sound a lot better, which is a plus. So we are all doing much better. Jamie's still dealing with a little bit, but no, we're on the healthy side of this whole flu thing, and man, thank God. That was rough.
Yeah, it was about a 2-3 week stretch of kind of just circulating between the three of you, and yeah. But glad to hear everybody's doing better. I was personally bummed out over the postponement of the ugly sweater party, but just means I have more time to get my sweater and gear, and I actually had it made and shipped, so it's now in my possession. So I'm coming for that back to back win on best sweater of the year.
Yeah, we're gonna definitely have to post this sweater. It's been talked about quite often, man. So I'm sure the viewers want to see what the heck you're talking about. Hell, I want to see what this thing is.
Yeah, let's just say many folks have been asked for input on the sweater. I'll put it that way, I guess. So it's gonna be great.
Right. I'm for it, man. I don't know what to expect, so we're ready for it.
Yeah. But yeah. So this Corey Davis, you knocked this one out solo before everybody got sick over there. So I don't remember where. I think I was sick, actually, probably.
Yeah.
So thanks for knocking this one out. And Corey's a great dude, and it was great to listen back to it. And I hope everyone enjoys it.
All right, everyone. We're here today with singer-songwriter Corey Davis. Welcome to Outside the Circle. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Brian, for having me.
Yeah, man.
Look forward.
Yeah, this will be fun. We always like to kind of dive in right from the very beginning. So tell us a little bit about where you grew up and how much music was, or how important music was growing up.
You know, I grew up at the end of what they called a pig trail road in northeast Mississippi, right where Alabama, Mississippi, and Tennessee all meet. My dad was a singer-songwriter, a band director, choir director, had his own band called Bits and Pieces. My mother was a singer in that band with him. Music's been part of my life since I can remember being alive.
Yeah. What did you call the end of your road? A pig
trail road.
Pig trail road, yeah.
It was wide enough for one vehicle, so if two vehicles met in opposite directions, one of you had to hit the ditch.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, that's actually funny. Where I grew up, when we first, I grew up in a household of carpenters. So we built a log cabin, was, the house that I grew up in. And when we first moved to the property, it was a 1-lane dirt road that I grew up on. Since now it's not a highway by any means, but it's paved at least, and you can fit 2 cars down it. So I can appreciate that. No, that's cool. So your dad being pretty heavily involved in music, was it always country music that you guys were listening to?
Not always. We went to church every time the church doors were opened, and most every weekend we sang at funerals. Mm-hmm. We sang gospel music at funerals, and from the time I was 13 or 14, every Saturday or Sunday we were singing at a funeral somewhere.
Yeah.
So
I played played my grandmother's funeral, and one of the hardest things I've ever had to do was to sing at a funeral. So, I mean, I'm guessing you kind of get a little desensitized from it after a while of doing it, but definitely not your, upbringing of rocking out in bar rooms and stuff like that.
No, my my dad never played in a bar. He played in the community centers and festivals and fairs, and so that way, that was my lifestyle growing up.
Yeah,
and biggest influence on my music career for sure.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, you always hear that, the birthplace of country music was in the church. It was gospel. It was that thing. And so it's not that hard of a leap to kind of go from a gospel, sound and to get into the country music world. Yeah, that's really great. Do you know when you kind of figured out that you were going to start doing country, or that was the path you were going to follow?
Growing up, my daddy listened. We had the big cabinet stereo with the big 45s in our living room. And every Saturday morning, my mother made me and my two siblings, I've got an older sister and a younger brother, she made us do one of three chores: sweeping, mopping, and vacuuming. So while that was going on, they would put on Johnny Cash or Merle Haggard, Waylon. And by the time I was 7, I can remember coming home from church in the back seat of that old station wagon. He Stopped Loving Her Today came on the radio, and I sang it. And my dad punched my mom in the shoulder and said, "Hey, he knows every word of this song. He's pretty good." That's my memory of me wanting to follow here in country music.
Yeah. And then, through the years, when was it that you decided that you were gonna, do you play guitar too and a songwriter? So, I guess once that nudge came from the dad, did he kind of help you through the early on parts of your career and stuff like that?
He did. I played football. I played from 3rd grade all the way through junior college, and had a scholarship to go to Mississippi State and be a long snapper. Mm-hmm. And he always told me, he said, use your head for something besides a football helmet. So the year I graduated high school, I finally told him, I said, "Daddy, would you teach me some guitar?" And he did. And he handed me a $50 harmony guitar from Walmart. The strings are about a ½ inch away from the neck. And he said, "If you can play this guitar, you can play any of them." And I can sit there, I can remember sitting there for 6 hours or, up to 8 or 10 hours every afternoon, every night, trying to learn guitar. My fingers calloused so bad from that old guitar. And it was just an amazing experience that my dad put me through. I think he was punishing me for not listening to him for all those years.
Yeah. I have a very similar story. In my early years, I'd always loved guitar, and, my folks had got me one, and before any lessons or anything, I'd always take it out, and my hand didn't fit around it at all. So I'd just sit there and strum it out of tune and whatever, but I was a rock star in my bedroom, so it didn't matter. And, I remember a family friend came over who played guitar, which I thought was amazing. And so he tuned my guitar and then started to play it, and it was the same thing, man. It was like a ½ inch to the fret. But that's it. That's what I learned to play on. And the same type of thing, man, when you can muscle through those strings and then you get onto like a nicer guitar, and, my next nicer guitar was only like a $200 guitar, and, I was like, wow, this thing plays so nicely. I can do a lot more on this thing. And, but yeah, those early years, to this day, I still grab the guitar like I'm choking, something out on it, And actually I prefer guitars now with like a thicker neck on it than, even a Martin that has that real thin neck. To me, it just doesn't feel comfortable in my hand. But Yeah, same
Yep.
same funny story, man. I remember calluses. It was like this hand was a half inch bigger than this hand just due to the
Right.
calluses in it. um,
Yeah.
yeah, that's great. The songwriting. When did you kind of get into writing songs and stuff?
That's been probably 15 years ago. It's I've always loved poetry. Believe it or not, country redneck like myself, I've always loved poetry. But once I started learning guitar and how to put words to the chords and a melody, it just clicked one day.
Hmm.
And I sat down and people haven't even ever heard my first song, but it will be on my next album that's going to probably be released next year,
Mm-hmm.
late next fall. And the title of it is Strangers Walk By.
Nice.
And it is the first song I ever wrote. And, like I say, it's been probably 15, 16 years ago. And so from that day forward, I've just, you don't always write good songs. You don't always write good music. But don't ever quit.
Mm-hmm.
They will come as long as you keep trying.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. The that first song, 15 years ago or so, did is it still the way that you wrote it the first time, or have you revisited it after, through the 15 years and kind of wrote parts of it?
The only thing I did to it was add a second verse.
Yeah. That's good, man. That means you kind of struck gold on it.
Yeah, and I finally picked out a lead part to it, but other than that, that's the only thing I changed on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a hard world, one being the songwriter side of it, right? And then to be the singer that has to kind of put those songs out and then open up that vulnerability of yourself, whether it's, a love song, a sad song, or, a kick-ass song, it's one of those things that it's nerve-wracking, especially to release, your first song, which, I guess, my thought too is how scary it is, one, to write your first song and then release your first song. And those two don't have to be the same thing. You don't have to release the first song you wrote because of that nerve factor. Right. So it's kind of good that, you released a couple before you brought that one into the world.
Yeah. And, Beer in the Bible, that's my first release. And it's me 100%.
Yeah.
Like I told you, I was raised up in the church, but I was also influenced by the finer things in life. But it's made me me. You got to have a great balance and keep your priorities in line. And as long as you can tell your story and tell it the way that it's supposed to be truthful about it, you will be successful.
Yeah. And I think it was, oh man, I can't remember the name now. I forget who it is, and forgive me for that. But his quote was always, if it's in your heart and if it's in your head, write it down, because no one else is going to say it the way that you need to say it, And I always kind of took that. It was, it doesn't matter if it's, the next, He Stopped Loving Her Today, but it's you and it's your feeling and it's in your heart. So it needs to be written out and, and put on paper or even to music, And I always find that's like such an interesting thing. It's a simple statement, but it's deep to me.
Oh, it is. It is. I mean, people need reality, where nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
There was only one perfect man and they killed him for it.
Right.
Jesus Christ.
That's right.
So, I don't profess to be perfect. I profess to be me. And I know there are a lot of people out there like me. So, just be you, be honest with the world.
Yeah. And, here on this podcast, we talk quite often about authenticity and how, you know, that type of songwriter and musician who is true and authentic to themselves, you know, they may not have the world's biggest fan base by any means, but they have the most diehard fan base, you know, because it's that true connection to the, you know, the words, you know, the lifestyle, any of that stuff. And to me, I find that more important. You know, I'd much rather sing to 5 people that truly love what I'm doing than to a room of 100 people that are talking to each other and don't care at all of what I'm saying.
100%.
Yeah.
100.
Yeah. So we kind of talked about it. So how about you go ahead and intro a song? We'll take a break here and we'll come back and chat about it.
All right. Yeah, you know, my next release will be this Friday, and it's titled "When the Devil Took Me." Yeah, I wrote this song about the first night I met my wife, and I met her at Floribama, which is a bar in Orange Beach. I was scheduled to play there that night a little over 10 years ago. And as soon as I saw her, I told the security guard my guitar. I'm not playing. So he did. And she came over to me and said, "Hey, how are you?" And here I am today. We've got a little 6-year-old boy named Colton. Happy as we can be. I mean, it's, you know, she's not the devil, but she's got just the right amount of wrong that's perfect for me. And I wouldn't be here without her. So I think people will get the meaning of it. We've got a little lyric video comes out the 24th of this month. And I can't wait for people to hear it.
Awesome, man. Yeah. So let's, we'll take the break now and we'll throw it on for the listeners to hear.
Thank you.
I met her on the street where the waves meet the sand. She didn't know she needed this kind of man. She was looking for a devil. She might have found an angel with a set of horns that make her feel welcome. She's hot enough to send you straight to hell. Maybe that's why they call her Jezebel. The pearly gates and the streets of gold is what I felt when I held her close. But my soul was burned in the 3rd degree. I never even knew when the devil took me. There's a smell in the wind that reminds me of the feeling that you only get when your heart starts bleeding. There ain't nothing cool about that salty breeze. She's the only one that loves the devil in me. She's hot enough to send you straight to hell. Maybe that's why they call her Jezebel. The pearly gates and the streets of gold is what I felt when I held my soul was burned in the third degree. I never even knew when the devil took me. She got my heart pumping wide open.
All right, so that was When the Devil Took Me. We kind of talked about the inspiration for the song, and for one, I like the little twist that it's about your wife and stuff like that. To me, I always talk about the production side of music. It's my day job anyways. And so when I heard this song, like it being in the minor key in the opening of the B3 right at the beginning, man, it just took, I was instantly, captured into the song. So I really love it. I love the mystic feel that's happening throughout the whole song. So a really, really cool song, man.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that.
Yes.
It was,
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
no, it was fun in the studio. I promise you. It was really fun.
This comes out, when people are listening to this, it'll be out by the time. And, so I really look forward to, hearing, how this song does, for the artist or for, our listeners. I hope they totally get it. Yeah, man, it's such a cool song. And, when you play, did you record this, in, down by you or up in Nashville or anything?
In Nashville.
Yeah.
It recorded in Nashville.
First time in Nashville recording it, or you've done a couple?
I did Beer in the Bible, and then I did 2 more songs, and my wife was pushing me to record this song. And I was like, I really don't think it's that good. So I went ahead and recorded 2 songs prior to this one with her, without her, permission. And I said, okay, honey, I will record When the Devil Took Me this time. And I can walk in the studio, and the producer and studio owner, Grady James, I picked the first riff out, the way the song opens, right after the B3. Mm-hmm. And he stops me. He's like, where did you come up with that? I'm like, man, I am not a guitarist by any means. I have no musical education whatsoever. I go to my room and I play and I pick out riffs, and sometimes songs come to me. A lot of times they don't, but this one just came to me. And I said, I can write a song about that. I had no idea it was going to end up in a minor key or whatever. Dog is trying to talk to us. Yeah. But anyway, that's how it ended up. And he's like, this is freaking awesome. And he had another guy in the studio with him there that he was trying to help be a studio producer. And he's like, this is freaking cool.
Yeah.
And he's like, so you want it to sound kind of swampy, dark? And I was like, yeah, I mean, we live in the swamps of Louisiana, so that's kind of what we're looking for. And he brought the baritone guitar out, and there it is.
Man, it's amazing how those musicians, right, how they could just pull stuff out of like thin air, and it's like they just know they just read your mind too, and you can go in with an expectation of a song, and like you said, just play that opening riff or something, and they're just like, yep, we know where this is going.
Yeah, it was amazing. I mean, Grady he's freaking amazing. Yeah, he's he brought that song to life. I mean, you know, listening to the song, people may not be able to see it that have not experienced the swamps of Louisiana, but, you know, walking down the street in Louisiana, I can see while I'm hearing that music, the Spanish moss hanging from the live oak trees. It's just, he put that feel into it that I didn't have about it until I played it for him in the studio.
Yeah, that I love it when I get the chance to, you know, get into a tracking session, and I'm the same type of way on guitar. By no means am I a lead player or anything. I am a singer and a chord strummer. That's it. And so when I get around that caliber of musician and can see how they could just, you know, pick out songs, and, you know, they're so clean with their number system, how they can just, like, you know,
Right.
just throw down those numbers, and, you know, at the end of it, it is such a complete, you know, project and outcome. It is one of the most electrifying feelings too. You know, I talk about it too much on this podcast, but being in a tracking session, if you've never been in one, you have no idea the feeling I'm talking about. But when you're in one, it is the coolest thing to see all of it come together.
It is. You know, I like you say, Grady with his numbers. I'm not a number guy. I'm a chord guy. You know, I know numbers are chords in musical theory, but he's sitting over there on his couch right beside me playing my guitar, watching me, and I've recorded 3 other songs prior to this one, and he has not done that. So he comes and gets his little notepad, and he's writing the numbers of the chords down and in order. And I'm like sitting there trying to do the track, you know. And I'm like, dude, you're making me nervous. I can't. What are you doing? You haven't done this before. He's like, just play. And I said, you're going to have to give me a minute. You're making me nervous.
Yeah.
But that's the way it turned out. And he was really into it. It was a great session. We loved it. We turned the lights down because we wanted the mood to be set, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never seen, you know, Grady get into a song like that one.
Yeah.
He's like, we've got to turn the lights down for this. I mean, we can't do this full light.
That's good. That's good. You know, that's, you know, someone that sees, you know, a true potential in a song, and is trying to get the very best, you know, captured in the recording. And I love that. I love that in an engineer. I love that in a song, you know, when you can kind of, you know, personify all of that stuff together and get that, you know, working as a team is so good. And, you know, it pays off because, you know, that recording is amazing. You know, you sing it with, you know, just as much, you know, mystery and feeling, and like you said, that swamp feel. I've never had the chance to be in the swamps of Louisiana yet, but I can feel what it must be like in that song. So that's cool.
Yeah, it was really fun. No doubt.
So we're going to talk a little bit. You also, you know, recently released Beer in a Bible. We've kind of talked about that. We're going to hit that at the end of the episode too. So, which is the title track from your upcoming 6-song release. Tell us a little bit more what we can expect from that album.
You know, it's really, the whole album has got a theme, you know, beer in the Bible. You know, the Bible talks about every song that will be on this album. You know, it's got Jesus, Bible, devil, beer, whiskey. You know, being wounded, that's another title of a song. Old Wounds, that will be on the album. You know, I tried to keep the whole album within the theme of beer in the Bible. So, you know, my next song that's going to be released will be probably sometime mid-January, and it's titled Jesus Made an Outlaw. And I'm really, really excited. That's my the song that I am most excited about, and it was the most fun song in the studio. My close group of people that support me, that they're most excited about it. I can't wait for it to be released. And if you want me to go ahead and go into why I wrote it and how it came about, I will.
No, I mean, I'm for it, man. So, I love the one, the theme of albums, like, or even like an EP or something like that. The idea of creating an entire project of songs instead of, just releasing singles and, nothing kind of, lines up to the next one. And I'm a big component of listening to albums from start to finish instead of just picking out the ones that I know, that type of thing. So I love that. But yeah, I mean, go ahead, dive into it.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't intend for this album to be that. I had no idea. Yeah, every song that will be on this album are songs that I have written within the last year. Jesus Made an Outlaw is about my brother-in-law that passed away September 7th. He was my wife's younger brother, a year younger than me. He always rode motorcycles, and he was an outlaw. I mean, he carried a 6-shooter on his side, an Uzi in his backpack, never wore a helmet, but he was a redneck. He would come here and go deer hunting, and he loved this country, loved God, loved his family. And 3 days after he passed, my wife asked me, said, would you write a song about Jason and Jesus? Mm-hmm. And I'm really not a big talker. My wife, if she was here, she would tell you, but she's working late tonight. And so I said, sure, hon. So 3 days later, I went to my room and I just struck a riff. And an hour later, I came home and I got her out of bed. I called her. I said, come out to my truck and listen to the song. Tell me what you think. And she started crying. And several other members of our family were here. Our son, our older son, and his wife and kids. And she called them out, and they immediately started crying. Yeah. And it's not a soft song by any means. It is an outlaw country song, but it describes him to the T, and a lot of other people that I know, especially bikers. And I was a biker until we had our son. Mm-hmm. Love riding bikes. My wife and I used to go to the Lone Star Rally in Galveston, Texas. But I figured it would be better for me to pursue music, which is a safer career than a biker career. Yeah. But it's really, I'm excited about it, and I think a lot of people will be able to relate to this song. Mm-hmm. It's kind of in your face, but that's the way Grady and I wanted it to be, because what outlaw is not in your face,
Right. Yeah, I also love, a songwriter that can make like a purposeful song. It's written for that one purpose, but be generally accepted. Where a lot of people can still relate to it and stuff like that. And that type of a song is great because like you said, you're writing it about the single person. But, there's going to be so many people, and, in this world, you find that we're so much alike, especially, once you get into, the redneck side of things, and, we all love the same thing. And, especially in the biker world, my wife, her father and brothers and everything are all, big bike guys. I, on the other side, liked all my limbs, especially for playing music. And so I never got into it. But no, that's really cool. And I'm really looking forward to, not only that song, but especially, the whole EP. And, like we said, that's going to be coming out here soon. So definitely keep an eye out for that. I mean, as we kind of wrap this thing up, I see, as crazy as this sounds, but 2023 is coming to a close here. Anything down the line that you want to touch on and let the listeners know?
I don't know what to expect. I really don't. I checked. A friend actually sent me a snapshot of his screen this afternoon, and it said Corey Davis, Beer in the Bible, 42,093 listeners. Like, where did you find that? He's like, man, you got over 50,000 streams on Beer in the Bible. Do what? So I don't know what to expect. I just want to, I tell everybody the reason I write and I have been blessed to be able to release my music is because I want people to know that they are not the only ones that experience certain things. And maybe if they are having a little trouble, there are some songs on this album that will at least maybe help you forget your worries for it, if it's only for just 3 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
So, I want people to know that they're not the only one in this world that's gone through some bad times. And they're not the only ones that are happy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy, even though I've been through some. And I just appreciate all the support and hope I can encourage some people down the road.
Yeah, that's great. And, and that kind of mentality too, you're creating music, for yourself, for your family, and, for, the real people that want to hear, especially, and I use this, very, I guess, respectfully, but people that want to hear real country music, and especially in a world of, pop stars on country radio, people that want to hear that kind of sound. And I think there's definitely a hunger for it. I mean, we see it all the time now. You're starting to see, that style of music starting to become, popular again. You saw it with, Oliver Anthony there with his release, how people just jumped on it. It was, meaningful song and it meant so much to the world. And that style of of real written country music is going to be something that a lot of people are going to, start to be, influenced by. And like I said, your mentality in that is what is going to drive, your career. And like I said, I love that you're just kind of, hands in the air. Let's see what happens with this ride. But, man, I'm for it, man. I think it's going to be really good.
Well, I appreciate it, Brian. It's everything. It just humbles me because I wouldn't be here without God.
Mm-hmm.
I give God the glory for everything that's happened in my life, and I fall on my knees for when the times are bad because I needed to be humbled because I didn't give him the praise. Everything has a purpose. You're not successful, or at least I wasn't, and I've seen many people around me when you don't have your priorities in line. Yeah. I'm 45 years old, and I've been through a lot of crap. A lot of that reason was because I didn't have my priorities in line.
Yeah.
But when you get your priorities in line, good things happen.
Yeah, and, thankfully that you have, and that we can all kind of join in on this ride with you and, follow along. And, I am excited. I'm a fan of yours already, and especially now after talking with you for here a little bit here. And, I'd love for you to let the listeners know where they can find you online, you and your music, and kind of take this journey with you.
Sure, man. You can follow me on Facebook at Corey Davis Country. Same on Instagram, Corey Davis Country. Online, CoreyDavisCountry.com. All of my info will be there. Let me know what you think. I try to do some personal posts and also some post about when my music will be released, and there'll be a lyric video of When the Devil Took Me coming out the 24th of November. That'll be posted on my Facebook and online. So yeah, just let me know what you think, and hopefully pretty soon I'll be somewhere close to where everybody can come see me. That's the goal.
Definitely look forward to it. Well, Corey, I appreciate you coming on and dealing with, solo me and not Ronnie. We did. Hopefully it was pretty good for you tonight, man. I really appreciate it. And I definitely hope that, everyone's going to jump on board with you. I think your sound is great, and you already got a fan here. So
I appreciate it, Brian. I really, truly appreciate you having me. Thank you very much. God bless you, and God bless America.
All right, so that was our interview with Corey Davis, or well, I guess I should say your interview with Corey Davis. So, yeah, it was another great one there from you, and yeah, Corey's a great dude, and you guys talked about a little bit, literally a brand new artist, and I think it's safe to say he definitely hit the ground running with these first two tracks, and plenty of good things to come from him.
Yeah, what's cool about that is that we got a glimpse of a brand new artist. A couple of times that we've had on this podcast, these artists have already released a handful of songs. They may have taken breaks here and there, but it's very rare that we've had somebody that the two songs that we have are the two songs that are out right now for Corey. And looking for, more stuff from him and to listen to more stuff from him. But yeah, again, I couldn't say enough, such a great dude. Big family man, and big, physically too. Y'all will see it in the video. But he's a mountain, man. He is a huge dude. And but we got off air, and we started talking about bow hunting and stuff like that. So hopefully we'll get him up here in the Northeast to do one of our mentor hunts with the Youth Day, and so I look forward to that and reconnecting with Corey for that one too, man. But again, super cool dude. Yeah, and
kind of off topic, but I guess off topic of Corey, but on topic of what you just said. We should we always talked about figuring out a way to put on some sort of event show thing. Mm-hmm. How many people have we talked to that are hunters and shoot in their own right, that we probably combine these two things and
I'm thinking that almost like a deer camp, a music deer camp.
Yeah, no, like I said, I very much enjoyed listening back, and you guys definitely knocked it out of the park. And you mentioned before we went in that it's the holiday season here. It's, what is it now? The December 14th. So, while we don't have any interviews scheduled for the rest of the month, we'll still be putting stuff out. So, definitely for those listening, make sure you keep your subscribe or follow or whatever it is where you get the notification that a new episode is out. We'll make sure to bring you plenty of stuff over the winter break, so when you're sitting at home not working, you can catch up on us.
Yeah, or you got that long drive to go visit family, throw the podcast on, you might find your next favorite artist, Corey being one of them. But yeah, definitely want to thank Corey for coming on Outside the Circle. Be sure to follow him on all of his social media, music listening platforms. We'll leave you today with a track from Corey Davis, Beer and the Bible.
Raised up down in the Southland, where beer and the Bible run deep. Raising hell, shooting stars, and working way too cheap. Mama and Daddy tried to teach me everything I'd need, but somehow they both knew that beer and the Bible make me. Yeah, I raise my glass, take a swig. devil, one's for the Lord, and I'm somewhere in between. Yeah, I'm one hell of a recipe, 'cause beer and the Bible made me. Well, I go to church on Sunday, but I sit in the back row pew, trying to hide from that preacher man, 'cause last night I had a few. Well, I keep a Yeti in the back of my truck and a Bible in my front seat. Thank God I'm a country boy, beer and the Bible made me. Yeah, I raise my glass, take a swig, thank God I live free. Read the good book every day and fall down on my knees. One's for the devil, one's for the Lord, and I'm somewhere in between. Yeah, I'm one hell of a recipe, 'cause beer and the Bible made me. That loves beer and divinity. I know there's a lot of y'all that was raised just like me. Yeah, I raise my glass, take a swig, thank God I live free. Read the